positions we're seeing here after the first draft. I'm hoping for nothing else right now as we're into game one in this first series to determine the first team to punch their ticket to Paris and the quarterfinals.
And holy moly, we may not get a lane swap. Thank the Lord.
Yeah.
So done with them.
That's a dub already. All right, we're already winning, boys. We are already winning. As we're taking a look at what everybody's doing here at the start, pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, the reason why it's such a dub for me in this game to not have a lane swap is like, we're going to get some really brawly lanes. Especially as a jungler, you love to see volatile lanes because you get options for where to go influence. Olaf versus Renekton on top side will be very volatile. They're threatening some very fun level 1 stuff here, both Sylas and Rel possibilities of jumping over the wall, but they do not go for it. Ward in the tri-brush there.
Oh, crash down. Hung just gonna get not a whole lot more than that, really. Moan and Aiming still just trying to get back away from this one. Gala and Hung still continuing to push forward, dropping the Ignite, forcing Aiming to flash back away to the safety of the tier 1 turret.
Now, Aiming still has his teleport, so he should be able to kind of catch these waves and TP back into lane, but he does want to wait until he at least kind of works up towards something like a tier to get that reset, so trying to force him out early to deny that quick reset is working out well for LNG if they can try and get him out.
Yeah, it's really big here for LNG to take advantage of the Alistar Ziggs lane at level 1, take away that flash, take away any big possibilities there. Now, like, Gala and Hung are going to have a really, really nice free time, even though their jungler is pathing away from them. Both junglers are pathing towards the top side, towards that really volatile matchup that we're all looking forward to, the Olaf Renekton on the top side. So you got to expect the junglers will definitely intervene very early up there. Meanwhile, of course, that Sylas getting pushed in early by Showmaker, so nothing to see there. We will, of course, also be keeping track of Showmaker's stacks on this.
As you have to.
You have to, especially because it's a melee matchup, and so you should be getting a lot of stacks very early on the Smolder.
But this is the surprising thing to me. If you were to tell me that these two players were coming into the day's matchup, I thought these two champions would be flipped. I thought Showmaker would want to avoid the AD carries because it wasn't really his wheelhouse for the entirety of summer. Whereas for Scout, he was bringing out the Tristanas and looking good on things like the Lucian. So I'm kind of surprised to see Showmaker be the one that's bringing out this motor. But the LCK has had great showings on this motor pick, so not surprised to see it brought out fully.
All right, Kobe, you said you were expecting junglers here in the top side for the volatile matchup. Zika jumping forward, trying to lock up King in here, flashes in for the Ruthless Predator, and Wei is there. Vault Breaker playmaker, first blood over to Zika.
I love that. Anytime you see those volatile melee matchups, and the Olaf pushing in early, of course, so Zika with the flash punishes so nicely there. Wei able to get the Vault Breaker across, such a good setup, and dropping your top 2 camps there, you know, he doesn't have to fully finish off. It's really important for junglers to recognize wave state, and because of the matchup, and it's just an Olaf with Ghost, so it should be an easy stun setup. It's just nice to see like the versatility here to be able to react to the current wave state, and really nice punish.
Especially because DK had already spotted out with that ward on Raptors where Wei was. I think they just thought, oh, he's going for a full clear. I can crash this wave and get back, but Wei kind of catching them off guard, getting that early kill, going to help out massively for Zika.
Yeah, everybody always highlights like efficiency for junglers and like, oh, you need to full clear, you need to full clear, but that's a lot like solo queue where you can't rely so much on your teammates, and in this case, really good diversion there. So we'll see about the other side of the map as well, as you're going to have the cross Wei, of course, going all the way to the bottom to get the bottom Scuttle Crab as well before fully recalling.
Yeah, and you can see DK ready to crash this wave here into the bottom lane. Tier 1 turret. Hung and Gala should just be able to farm this up. No big problem. LNG still just enjoying the gold advantage from the first blood, but not really anything more, so there's no huge lane advantages popping up anywhere for any of the just matchups that you would expect them to be coming up from.
Yeah, I just want to see how the timing here is going to go for Wei, because you're down on this bottom side, you could immediately go for Dragon as Hung. Should you interrupt the reset? Yeah, nice here from Mohan. The Ziggs.
Oh,
the
he
Ignite
wanted to
unleashed.
use the Ignite to cancel the reset, but it wasn't fast enough. It got him during that last quarter second. So aiming still manages to get his recall, and now that's Summoner down for Hung.
And I think that was where they could have tried to look for some sort of pressure on towards push at the wave, maybe try and get an early reset, move up towards Void Grubs, but now that Aiming's back in the lane, he's going to be able to keep up this pressure. Gala's just a reset down, so trying to move up towards an early Void Grubs is going to be really tough for LNG now.
Other thing I'm looking at that's kind of tough for LNG, Scout has already used his teleport, and so always, you know, on Silas, you're kind of like trading your health, trying to keep up enough CS and trying to stay in lane, but so much pressure from Showmaker here, just spitting out fireball after fireball. They do force Scout back, and that is going to turn into, hey, there's no teleport on Scout, I've got the advantage here mid lane, pushed him in, chunked him out, we should be able to grab this dragon.
He crashed down there on the Moham, but he's not a whole lot more worried about it than just that. He can walk that away as the rest of his team is continuing to just pick this Drake up. Bottom lane's job is to make sure that the enemy bottom lane doesn't rotate over, try to cause any trouble, and that's not going to go down. So Lucid can finish picking this one up, no problem, should be.
Weiwei's starting to get a little bit of an advantage for himself, though, because he's moved into DK's top side, stealing away the Gromp. Going to, I imagine, could move over towards the Wolves or just immediately move back over towards the Void Grubs, which is what he's going to do with Silas actually getting that push now that Scout has come back into lane, and Zika doing a good job of controlling Kingen. So it is going to be a trade, but even just the camp starting to tick over in favor of Weiwei.
Ooh, wow, Scout going in, looking for a little bit more on Lucid, but takes him down to 250, has to back away.
Yeah, and that's a really good, honestly, scouting play for him, where he's not really looking for the kill there. He's looking to make sure that there is no possible contest on these Void Grubs.
Yep.
No, nice early use of the ultimate, get a big chunk onto the Maokai, make sure that DK are not going to have an option, because, you know, they did have a really early timing on the first dragon, so there was possibilities here, especially with, you know, Mohan reset here, and they are swapping up to the top side for DK with their duo lane, but already, because of that play, LNG secure their grubs.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's unusual to swap Aiming and Moham up now because, yes, you can try and get some turret plate damage or at least try and opt out of the matchup, but, oh, Zika actually can knock back a bit, but
yeah, he's fine.
This wave should still be picked up by Zika. He's going to be relatively okay. You can even see the rotation coming through from Hong and Weiwei just to make sure he's going to be fine on this, but you're just leaving Gala now to get free time.
All right, LNG's bringing in some backup. Vaultbreaker getting charged. Flash engage comes out from Hung, and they're immediately just trying to chop down that tree. Lucid gets away with 200 HP as Zika tries to keep everybody else locked up with a disengage coming out from Moham. Knocks him back into the river. The big bomb coming in from the Ziggs. Aiming needs one more shot, and Lucid's going to get the kill credit. DK 1-0 in the scrap.
LNG tossed everything into the tree, but they couldn't chop it down. You didn't have the damage to follow through, and Zika just gets mowed down by Aiming and Moham in the mix.
Yeah, that was really good peel. Turnaround. Lucid does not panic as they jump on him, immediately able to disengage and throw out his Maokai ultimate, and Aiming plus Mohan keeping them at arm's length, allowing them to take down the extra kill for them. This one already spicy, boys, but very glad that is evened up as well. The only thing we're still a little bit worried about here, Showmaker's been stacking up quite nicely on that Smolder, so we will check back in on the mid lane. We'll see if Scout is able to pull off any really big plays on any steal away ults.
Also, I'm not sure what happened in the bot side. Gala ended up losing out about 10 CS there as well. Was even going into it, but wasn't quite able to finish it out. So Kingen didn't burn Ghost or anything, but was watching top side. So nice job at least by Kingen to deny some of that CS away from Gala and put him behind as well.
All right, 12.7 to 13.6 thousand gold, 1K up for an LNG squad that also owns the first 3 Void Grubs. 2 minutes until that second set spawns. And honestly, the second Drake only being slightly mistimed with that means we could have something interesting go down, but most likely probably just a handshake trade on the objectives.
Yeah, I think this is where we're probably going to see a little bit more interaction between Weiwei and Scout, because even if you can just get that ultimate from Weiwei immediately on towards Showmaker, you can burst them out or start to burn some summoner spells. So getting those summoner spells out before a big dragon or a Void Grove fight are going to be really crucial. And when Scout has, again, just been such a strong focal point for this team, trying to get those resources onto him has always boded well for LNG.
Yeah, and then of course Gala, they're looking at trying to scale this Kaisa. He has the call, really trying to make sure that he will be able to cash in, get to his couple item breakpoints. And that's where your dive comp really excels, is once you're able to bring the Kaisa over to a lot of those skirmishes. Until then, like you're saying, you're going to see some of those Wei scout combos, see if they can get some skirmishes, some engages, pick people off as they're rotating between objectives, and we really get to live in that melee brawl world.
Just about to hit 10 minutes on the clock here as Gala and Hung head back down into this bottom lane. You can see their opponents are up slightly in terms of the gold. It is a plus 20 farm lead for aiming on the Ziggs. This is a pick that has been banned a ton so far at Worlds 2024 in the main stage. Second highest ban rate overall. The fact that it went through this one, a little bit surprising. But when we look back at the draft, a big reason for that is a lot of targeted bans. We talked about how DK was aiming at all the stuff that LNG used to beat BLG. So when those specific strategies come out, the more general OPs get through. So I'm very curious to see what aiming can accomplish with this pick as we go forward.
And of course, aiming, has been very consistent for them. As we see a 4-person move towards top.
All right, we got the big play. The dive coming in from DK, and Zika's about to drop. He stays alive for an extra second, but it is not long enough. But now the Maokai ulti coming out, stolen away by Scout, but it will not matter as everybody on DK exits stage left.
And they fully commit to this. They're like, second spawn of Grubs, we're going to send everybody up to go for the tower dive first, but now the chase.
The immediate counterattack coming out from LNG with a Vi ulti into the follow-up from Scout. They take down Mohawk, but a teleport arrives, and Kingen is ready to tear through on a rampage. He chases Hung down, but Hung gets back over the wall as Lucid has to try to escape back into the mid lane. It's a 3-man chase from LNG. They won't get a kill, but the enemy jungler now so critically low on HP, and LNG are heading back up into this topside river. They claimed one of the second set of Grubs, but there's still 2 to go, and nobody from DK to contest.
And even though DK, quote-unquote, successfully get their dive, this is so massive for LNG. They got so much money onto Gala. Gala had just been farming on the bottom side, and they're still able to get their chase down counter kill. They're still able to get their Grubs. Can they finish the last one?
Oh, no, they will not. Stolen away. How now, Mr. Cow? Wei stuck in the pit, and he ain't getting out. It's the final Grub plus a kill of a DK.
I can't believe the Cow is the one that steals it in all of that one. Incredible from DK, because I was looking at LNG going, oh, this is such a sick timing window. The reset came through from Kingen. We have the numbers advantage before the TP can come in. Let's take the fight. But then they're like patting each other on the back, and they think they've done it, and suddenly DK come back.
Yeah, it was so big. And look at the mini-map as this play starts. Gala's on bottom, farming. He's doing damage to the tower, so that will be consistent for this entire time. And LNG, as they get their chase out here, key that Showmaker popped Mohan's ult there. He was able to force it out with his Maokai ult, and then Wei says, I'll follow up. Scout had gotten the early ult down on Mohan, and so then Wei followed up. They got that one, and because you saw the smite used on that Grub, he's not going to have his next smite charge available for the final Grub. As you know, stolen away by the Cow. Really fun action so far.
All right, as we get back to live, turrets are collapsing in bottom and top lane both, as LNG grabs the first down in the bottom lane, immediately responded by DK, though, up there in the top side, using the power of the Ziggs and the Satchel to make sure that they can force that one down as well. As you can see, the second Drake also get taken.
This is an awkward spot now for DK, though, because you can rotate Gala up and still have a tower you can threaten on top side. You're in position to fight for Rift Herald, but Amin, I think, kind of has to open mid or top here, because he still needs to try and match Gala, but can't really threaten that bot lane turret and still be in position for this upcoming Rift Tower because his TP isn't available. So DK kind of a step behind when it comes towards how they want to operate on the map right now.
Man, we are 15 seconds away from Rift Herald spawning with, what, 500 gold separating the teams. Couple of good moves early on from both sides. Drake's tied at 1-1. The early game from the first game of this BO3 has delivered so far.
Massively so. And this is, again, I just want to see more scrapping. Like, this is such a fun compositions on both sides to see exactly how you can try and come away with this. But LNG, a bit late in the resets. Wei only now starting to come out of base. Means DK get to set up nicely in river, and the push in mid is fairly simple with Amin opening up there.
Okay. Let's see if we get a whole lot of trading back and forth here with just some of the poke tools being used. Gala firing off the Void Seeker, but Bouncing bomb's not going to connect in response. MasterCard Lane Economy snapshot showing you that, yes, it's a bit of a gold lead for Kingen, but all of the other gold leads going the opposite direction. Down here in the bottom lane, though, 1v1 between our ulting top laners. Zika trying to wait for those cooldowns to come back. He doesn't want to stand there and fight the Olaf. Auto attack v auto attack. Zika looking to chase him down now. A little bit more is all he needs. Run, Kingen, run! Zika with the solo kill.
Zika played that so well. He jumped into the minions, got the last auto attack for his Fury build-up, and then got that massive heal from both hitting the champion and all those creeps at the same time. Now gets to push in on bot. Could even look for a quick reset now that he hits 11 and teleport back in as it's about to come off cooldown. Oh, where's Scout off to?
Okay, oh wait, Gala, very low on HP, down to 150, having to try to get away from this with a Killer Instinct. Last bouncing bomb ain't gonna hit him. The AD carry from LNG staying alive as Moham has already used the ultimate. The Unbreakable Will no longer available. Counterattack coming out from LNG now as Moham has to try to get away. Another stolen Maokai ulti. They go in, and LNG finds themselves another kill. They get everybody right on back out, and the scrap continues.
Sick Vi ultimate there from way as Moham tried to headbutt him away. They get their kill again. Cow down. LNG punished that dive attempt.
And LNG just caught DK off completely. Scout TP'd from that top side of the Rift Herald pit down to where DK's Raptors are to come in and find Moham off kilter. So LNG doing some really fancy stuff here and getting that kill back when I thought it was Gala who was going to die.
And guess what? We're going to see a lot more of Gala on our screen pretty soon. He has been farming up a storm and is very close to the Rage Blade. The Static Shiv obviously helps a lot for holding mid lane when you're trying to deal with so much Ziggs push. It sometimes can be really hard, but Static Shiv does a lot, and then really nice ultimate and some jukes from him to keep himself alive. But once the Rage Blade is done, then you get to see Gala going way more offensive with it. And LNG, they have so many tools to start up these fights.
Well, how about this, Kobe? We got the Rift Herald still alive on the map, and in a minute and a half, we also have another Drake spawning. So I think there'll be plenty of reasons for that Rage Blade Kaisa to get himself involved in a little bit of PvP. LNG now up 2,500 gold, 2.5 minutes after we were saying that it's less than 500, separating the two squads. However, that's going to be assisted here a little bit for the other side as DK manages to grab yet another turret thanks to the Zig Satchel here in the mid lane.
And as long as Aiming can keep up this threat on Gala as well, DK just owned the mid lane, which makes it very easy to start to drift across these objectives. So at the moment, DK playing a very calculated game on how they want to open up and making things a little difficult for LNG, despite the gold lead that they have.
And Aiming himself, has been so good for DK, both on, the traditional carries that you expect from him, like the Zeri and stuff, but him really incorporating the Ziggs so heavily in regional finals, and now being able to steal it away and pull it out here could be the big difference maker. That big AoE on the item spikes here might be amazing. Regardless, though, is going to be Rift Herald picked up, and Kingen.
Ooh, yeah, Kingen trying to get himself away. Zika's going to stop the back. Kingen knows that the only way this works out okay is if he takes somebody with him. He cannot escape there. He tries to put the damage in, but it is not enough. LNG pick up another.
This counter pick is not working out at all for LNG, or for DK there, by the way, for Kingen. I mean, just think of the beginning of the game, the setup on the gank, then he also got the solo kill, then his team arrives here. It has just been all Zika all day, and now
we got some more problems for Moham and for DK as Scout is ready to jump in after him. Stolen Alistar ulti means he's totally unafraid of any sort of a counterattack. Hung now just also continuing to try to chase this. Scout got knocked back over the wall. He misses the Absconda duct, but Void Seeker from all the way in mid lane. Gala's the one getting the paycheck.
Man, Scout is way more brave than I am, because I was looking like Weiwei's on bot side. There's no way they're ever going to go in, and Scout just bops himself into the middle of 3 members of DK. It's like, I got this, it's fine, but it worked out. So great call on the bluff.
I mean, that's the power, though, of Alistar on the enemy team. As soon as you see Alistar, you just take his ultimate. Okay, I'm Tryndamere for the next 8 seconds. Sure, I'm not going to die. 1v3, I think they're going to need 2 more if they want to try to kill him.
Yeah, now I'm Alistar with damage.
Yeah. Now it's scary. All right, nice stuff from LNG here so far in game number 1. We've got another Drake secured for them. We've got 50 seconds until Baron rears his head on the map. Yes, it is an LNG lead, but I'm not exactly expecting a 20-minute Baron attempt or anything of the like unless we get another big explosive fight beforehand that really decidedly goes one way.
Yeah, much more looking for LNG to try and set up their vision so they can get a really good dive fight that is not having to go under towers. You know, it's a pretty good defense available mid lane here for DK. Their mid lane tower is still very healthy. They still have their flash on Showmaker, flash on aiming, and those are the two that you're really looking at, those critical summoner spells on DK, that if those get blown early, it's kind of step 1, and then step 2 for LNG, just the full send on their dive. So Showmaker and aiming right now have been doing very well, even though they're in the gold deficit. It's mostly in...
Oh, Scout.
Oh, hold on now. TP coming in for LNG. Scout might be a little bit too far forward. Seals away the Maokai ulti, which means he doesn't have the tankiness from the Alistar that he would like to have. Scout jumping back into the Baron pit, flashing back over the wall, barely staying alive. Mom roars in. Scout steps to the left. He lives. He walks away for now. But that was audacious from the LNG mid laner.
Yeah, I did not expect that one to be going the way of Scout. I thought he was going to fall there way too deep and very little vision, and now he got Riptail, but...
Well, we're doing it again. TP blank. We're doing it again. This time, it's the Crocodile. Moham trying to get away from Hung off to the side. Zika does not want to just jump in there with 2/3 HP. Gala's also removing the Rift Herald from the Tier 2 turret at the same time.
So you don't actually get the Tier 2 tower off the charge because of that play. Everyone backs away to respect Zika. So it kind of works out weirdly for LNG in that one. But the other one is DK now need to move down to this bottom side because this 1-4 setup that they've been using with Kingen on the side lane and trying to use Showmaker with aiming to threaten the Tier 2 tower has kind of netted this opportunity for LNG to continuously push insides with the stronger 1-3-1 setup.
Showmaker on the Smolder, currently sitting at 167 stacks. That's honestly, gentlemen, not a lot for this point in the game. He's still going to need a couple of more minutes to hit that 225 sweet spot, as now LNG might have themselves another opportunity out of play. They will not be able to catch out that enemy Alistar, but aiming's in a lot of trouble. Flash for the Ruthless Predator, and Gala's on a killing spree. TP arrives too late from DK to do anything about it. With the enemy Ziggs down, with his flash blown, it's problems for DK. Beautiful engage coming out from Hung as LNG follows up, and a Void Seeker finds the heart of Moham. DK just collapsed, and LNG hit him right in the ribcage.
And that's going to be a Baron as well on top. The cherry on top of those two plays for LNG. They're going to blow this game wide open with Baron buff and the 5 grubs. They should actually be able to take a ton of towers.
I mean, I just think I just heard the words fatality off the back of that one. LNG, that was really the punch that they needed to make things happen. And a great engage off the back from Hung as well, because this is a guy who has been criticized quite a lot in LNG for just not having the best of moments, but when this guy has his high highs, he is such a strong support, and you get to see it with the engage off the back here.
And this one, you see, hitting the Void Seeker, Gala immediately right in there, and Zika again, another big play from him, being able to get this first kill. But then it's really the second one that you're kind of highlighting, and it is that re-engage, even under tower. He goes straight for it. Hung's able to get the lockup. And there's no real threat that's going to force them off because Olaf is top lane pushing out. So LNG are like, whoa, you are stepping up. Even under your tower is a little bit too close to us.
Too far forward, man.
Yeah, you can even see like the Alistar ult was stolen again. It was like, we can tank this for days. We're going to be fine going underneath this tower. So DK now very firmly on the back foot with very little control. You're more than likely going to have this top tower be the main focus for LNG to push out and then start to set up a ton of vision in the enemy jungle. You can already see it existing on the bottom side of your screen, or bottom side of the map, but I think this is where LNG, this 1-3-1 is going to be such a threat for DK.
We're at Worlds. We get to see some Gala Kaisa sniping already. His 3-item power spike with a full dive team right in front of him. This one looks like, unless DK pull out some crazy magic, it is going to be very, very difficult for them to pull game number 1 back at least. Thankfully, we are into the best of portion of Swiss stage though, so definitely will have some more opportunities for DK.
But also, I think it kind of just setting up a very strong point for LNG to say, hang on, no, we are a force to be reckoned with at Worlds. Because I think a lot of people coming in were talking about, hey, you know, there is the top esports, the BLG from the LPL, and then there's that drop down to LNG, but they've been looking absolutely spectacular, both in this game so far and also in the game yesterday against BLG. So realistically, I think our LNG have come in and said, no, you have to look at us now at this Worlds caliber and say we are a real contender for those top spots.
I mean, when you're playing like this, you just demand respect, right? Like, we're talking about 3 players who are all still deathless nearly 25 minutes into the game. We're talking about a Renekton that you guys already touched on it. Yeah, we've got an Olaf counter pick that countered nothing. So there's not really a whole lot going on here. And even in the jungle, 0, 1, and 5 for Weiwei been critical for setting up a lot of these plays, as LNG going to take out that tier 2 turret back in the mid lane. 9-3 kill advantage, 5-3 turret advantage, 8,000 gold ahead. They've still got Baron for another 15 seconds. They're going to use it to try to force the play onto the tier 2 turret top, but DK holds the line for now.
Yeah, and the Renekton that you mentioned with the over 2,000 gold lead, by the way, against that counter pick, is hitting inhibitor tower right now. So being unanswered, the Ziggs bomb tries to push him off. The minions were still empowered by the Baron, though, so they didn't all die down there either. And the Renekton pressure is going to be relentless, while the rest of the team...
Yeah, there's not a whole lot left to Lucid here in the top side jungle. As long as they have the tier 2, it ain't going to matter now. But hold on, Gala and Weiwei are going to keep pushing the issue further forward. Over the wall, the abscond of Duck doesn't catch anybody else, and Scout and Hung gotta try to get back away. Zika showing up for the reinforcements, but Kingan, nobody takes Hung out of the picture. Zika fighting 1v3 on the front line, but he has to disengage back into the jungle now. Here to the rest of the team. LNG. They are smelling blood in the water, but DK wants to stay the hell out of the pool.
DK retreated to the castle. They drew up the drawbridge and were like, no, you don't get in here. So LNG, this quad melee composition, couldn't get over the wall, and they're just getting free hit the entire time. So DK get to hold on for the moment. They'll get some go back, but LNG still continue to rock them.
Yeah, they hold on for the moment. We'll see how long that continues, because they absolutely deleted Lucid here. And then, yeah, they go a little bit deep and give one back, but still are going to be able to return to their same pressure. Can't get over that wall. They take a lot of damage on the way out because of the Ziggs and the harassment from the Smolder. You know, DK, the Smolder is something we should touch on as far as, you know, these comeback hopes, even though the comeback is going to be difficult. Showmaker continued stacking up in 241, so, you know, pretty close, pretty nice there for him, as well as the double item power spike starting to come in. It's really when you finally get your rapid fire, though, and you get the extra range, that those hopes will really start to bloom.
I do think we've seen a difference in the way DK have approached the Smolder, though, when we look at like Chovy or someone else who picked it up, because it has very much been a case of, hey, we are sending you to a side lane, you are picking up every stack that you possibly can, whereas oftentimes you've actually seen Showmaker grouped with the team like this. He doesn't go off to a side lane, and I think a lot of that has been trying to hard force onto a mid lane play, but it does mean that the stacks have been hurt as a result, so this Smolder hasn't really come online as quickly as you'd like to, and LNG now are getting to play through that fact and really bully with the gold lead that they have.
Yeah, the control that LNG have now over this game one, 27.5 minutes in, cannot be understated. Baron spawns in about 45 seconds, and then another 45 after that. You've got what will be the Soul Drake for LNG also going to spawn. Yes, it's a Kim Soul. That's usually not the one that you would want, but it is just extra power built in. It is more to just push you over the line, get you to that Nexus, and get you to the next game. LNG focused on the top side river, though, with Baron being that objective spawning sooner, as Lucid and Moham gotta be careful, man. They are so far behind. One misstep, one face check that you shouldn't have checked is instant lights out.
Oh, hang on, no.
Yeah, never mind. Fight starting off. Weiwei jumping to the back immediately, going after aiming. Who has a flashback over the wall, trying to stay safe as Weiwei's gonna get bursted down by Mom, but the Syrinx keeping him alive for an extra second. Showmaker grabbing the kill on that one, as Kingan is scrapping and fighting back against LNG. Zika has to try to get away, staying alive with a Syrinx of his own, as Gala's going to be taken down to 1/3 HP, and he's going to continue retreating back into his own jungle. LNG have lost a man and killed no one on DK. DK standing strong, starting up the Baron, but LNG is still here. Scout looking for the opportunity to go back in. He steals the Alistar ulti away, and now he's jumping in on top of Lucid. Kill the jungler, kill the Baron. It's that easy. Moham trying to get back away now as well, as Zika wants wants to go in for a pinch to attack, but Gala with a beautiful shot takes out the enemy support. Jungle and support on DK down. LNG still in the driver's seat.
DK got a little too hyped on their comeback potential there. They're like, Showmaker hit 250. Oh, we can go. We got some kills. But way too much to go over towards Baron. And then Scout able to use the stolen Alistar ultimate and another snipe from Gala.
But this was such a sick turnaround from Moham, because I want to watch as the engage comes through here. Flashing in to interrupt Hung, making sure that Hung can't get that big crash down, then sets up for DK to play in this choke point. Gala can't step forward because there's so many things that are just being tossed his direction, and that's that slow fight then playing through Kingen on this ulti and Olaf to tear through LNG. But right as you called it, Kobe, it's Scout going, hang on a second, there's a cow still here and I have ultimate available. So he just immediately goes, thank you very much, I'll take that. Lucid, you're first to fall. And even watching Zika again, putting pressure on towards aiming, means that he doesn't really have a position to try and follow up, despite how low Scout goes off the back of this. And guns out, cow's gone, and it's another team fight victory for LNG.
2 Void Seekers in a row from Gala right onto the Alistar. That Alistar was actually more of a help to LNG. Stolen ultimate and then kill him off with a couple of snipes there. Really nicely done from LNG to kind of stabilize what was possibly the first step in a big DK comeback. So I think DK, though, they're still looking at that defense. It is very difficult when you're facing a team like this that has so much dive potential. As you can see, a really good toggle of vision here by the observers, but you're gonna have to expose yourself if you want to keep them off of this Baron. And so they slowly move up, trying to use the Maokai sapling temporary vision for themselves.
Well, the Baron might not have got claimed, but with the Dragon Soul now in the possession of LNG, their combat power is that much more intense. We're already talking about how powerful Scout is with this stolen Alistar ultimate. Now in below half, he's going to have even more of that damage resistance, even more threat. It's so scary for DK at this point, with the topside river being totally controlled by LNG, sitting on the control wards, waiting for their opportunity to go in. Scout immediately stealing away the Maokai ulti.
But I do think DK have read the situation well. LNG need Baron to close out this game. Against Showmaker, against aiming, these waves are never getting close to a tower that you can actually take, especially with 4 melee members and a Kaisa. That tower does not get tickled. So this is why LNG are starting it up. They need this objective.
Kaisa with a death cap too. I'm very scared of that thing.
Okay, let's see. Is DK also scared of an LNG? Looking to force down the Baron. Wei Wei loses his, was that the Sterix? No, never mind. That was just Allied Shield. Okay, I was worried there for a second. We're doing good here for LNG as they are now up just shy of 10,000 gold. They've got the Baron secured. Dagny, you already pointed it out. This thing is imperative for ending the game. So these next 2 minutes and 40 seconds from LNG need to get some work done.
I think they should be able to do that too. We mentioned the death cap here. That's going to mean that, oh, we're so scared of this rapid fire smolder. Not. Actually, our poke is insane too with the Kaisa poke that can come out. So it really transforms from like, oh, full dive comp LNG to just, hey, we have a lot of options to punish you if you go anywhere, else on the map that's not under your towers. But we also have some poke options ourselves here.
Man, LNG is just totally in control of the whole enemy jungle now. It is dark in there if you are playing from the DK side. Scout's just going to shoot off that Maokai ulti that was stolen earlier, use it to help get this wave shoved up. They still want to pressure so many different points at once. You can see Zika up in the top lane looking to take care of the last couple of hits onto that tier 2 they couldn't grab earlier, so now that one's out of the picture. They'll try to pressure 3 different lanes at once. Scout using his TP to rejoin back with the rest of the team as Kingen versus Zika, the 1v1 on the top side, while the remaining 4 players of either team fight over the tier 3 turret back in the mid lane. Zika continuing to try to shove as LNG's wave is cleared out back in mid.
Yeah, all you're looking for is LNG is to try to land this poke as Gala, see if you can try and force someone off. Now you do have the Banshee's Veil completed for aiming, which makes it a bit tough, but trying to dive could be a bit scary because Showmaker has that Seeker's Arm card, but Kingen feeling rough now after a great combo from Zika.
Yep. Kingen not loving this situation as the tier 3 turret's going to be killed in both top and mid lane at the same time. Zika pops the Dominus, looks to rotate over to the greater fight. They're going to lock up Moham here at the very start as Scout steals it with the Unbreakable Will. He's so tanky there on the front line. Mega Inferno Bomb doesn't do a thing. Mid lane inhibitor down, top lane inhibitor exposed. LNG still doing just fine as DK scramble to try to defend.
And they're teleporting right back in.
Gala jumps in with a killer instinct. He wanted to go after Showmaker, but he ain't going to find him.
barely stays alive with the extra bit of time from the stasis. Kingan's on the front, trying to hold these guys off, putting a couple of hits into Hung, but it ain't gonna matter. Scout steals away another. Maokai, ulti, LNG with 2 inhibitors down on the enemy squad. Continue to push forward. Mohan barely stays alive. Wait, getting himself back into the fight. He's trying to stay alive, but it ain't gonna work out. It's 2 dead on the side of LNG. But Zika, Scout, and Gala are still pushing. The minions are finally gonna get cleared away, and DK's looking for a little bit of extra punish, but they ain't gonna find anything here just yet. The game goes on.
That last auto attack from the cannon minion, though, gets one of the Nexus turrets. Scout, is he finished yet, though? Still hovering around, considering since he has that Ziggs ult that he could do some serious damage, but LNG routed, they are pushed back, but every single time they come knocking at this castle, more and more of these structures are falling.
And more LNG convincing us of their dominance in game number 1. They still have the Dragon Soul. They've got 2 inhibitors down, so it should be an easy repeat here. With the extra pressure of 2 inhibitors down, that Elder Dragon that's about to spawn, as we will go back to live shortly, is going to be pretty easy for them to set up a dangerous situation for DK. But here is that defense that you were going over. Weiwei had another good Vi ultimate there, even as they were trying to disengage him to make sure they could get that kill, but they still get the chase off. DK defend for now, and so we'll go back to live and see about the setup for that Elder Dragon that's going to spawn. They have to deal with double lines of super minions, plus the big gold deficit, plus no vision leading up to that area of the map. So only 13 seconds on the clock. LNG should be able to set up like a death trap here leading over to the big objective, and DK gonna have to pull out some magic again if they want to stay in this one.
Because it's definitely not scary to face check a Vi, Silas, Renekton.
No, not even a little.
No, it's fine. Yeah, easy as you like, you know.
It's such a scary place to be, man, because when the Elder is up, you know if you give it away, you instantly lose. But if you face check a brush on the way there, you also instantly lose. DK trying to take the long way around, wrap up from the bottom lane. They shoot Mom out just because they think, what if LNG is already on the objective? They weren't, but now the Smolder ulti no longer being available for the upcoming fight puts DK at yet another disadvantage. Zika still hanging around and waiting. It's Weiwei and Gala DPSing the Elder just by themselves as a 2-man unit, as Hung's gonna run interference, looking to keep everybody else away with a crash down to the Magnet Storm. Zika's ready to follow it up. They got the Elder, and they're looking to tear through DK. The remaining 4 players trying to get out, but it ain't gonna matter. Scout's got an unbreakable will, and LNG's got unbreakable lines. Mohan will be the next to die as a double kill for Gala will seal their fate. Scout goes on a rampage. 1 goes back, but it will not matter. Ace for 1. Game 1 is going the way of LNG. They'll push down that last Nexus turret. They'll make a statement 18-8, and LNG is up 1-0 in the first promo series of the quarterfinals.
Scout, Dplus, Gala.
That's a Ziggs, that's an Ahri, that's magic damage, plus a little bit more magic damage. Galio's gonna fly in there and protect Camille, and it is gonna hurt whoever is locked up in the way.
Yeah, the Ziggs little knockback doesn't work anymore. You need one more.
That is...
Try and deal with it.
Alrighty, boys, let's do it. Game number 2. DK wins this one, we get to play one more here in this series, but if LNG takes it, they are going straight to Paris from here. They will find themselves locked in for the quarterfinals at Worlds 2024. They are putting themselves in an incredible position to really, really be a threat, really be one of those squads that everybody else is kind of like, hey, we don't really want to draw these guys anymore when you head into quarters.
Yeah, especially with the versatility that they're showing, right? Like, yes, Zika has kind of been going towards these Renekton's Cassantes, but has always had these big carry picks. The Rumble has looked great for him. He's even got that counter pick Rise in his back pocket at times as well. So, and now Scout, the Tristanas, the Lucians, the Galios, the Silases, it just feels like you never know what LNG are going to bring out. And I think for a team that definitely was talked about as having these specific picks that they kind of relied on to have these big performances like Scout's Lucian, like the Yone, I think it's great to see that versatility being shown on the world stage.
Let's see what we get here as DK is doing a little bit of a late invade in the enemy jungle, sweeping out a bit of vision. Mohan and Kingan are going to face check right into this brush, and they'll both lose bone plating and not a whole lot more.
Yeah, they're trying to do the little bit of delay and go in.
Okay, we are getting a scrap here, 3v3 at level 1. Zika got to try to get away from that one a little bit faster. Him and Weiwei both down to half HP. Third and Tofo strike knocks the Sejuani on back, but nobody's really that close to death. Critically, you can see the big Raptor going over to Weiwei, but he didn't get the entire camp, aiming there with a 1 CS.
But even getting some there is like a bit of a steal away. You know, whenever we have the lane swaps and DK trying to go for that invade to push him off so that they would have the full topside map for Lucid, but successfully taken away a little bit there by LNG.
Okay. Hung just trying to be a nuisance here in mid lane, but does not get tackled back close enough to the turret there for the range to shoot.
I'm curious to see what happens now with the supports though, because we have seen some changes where for like the light and stuff, he would try and match on the bottom side. You'd have King and then TP in to join him and try and play down for this bottom side, but it looks like both teams, so actually Moam trying to do just that, but getting caught out by Hung, so it looks like LNG just trying to dissuade Kingen from being able to TP down and pick up this big wave.
Lucid just going to continue clearing through that enemy jungle here as Amy and Kingen have the wave about to crash into the turret. Here's your TP coming in. Weiwei, Hung, Zika, Gala, everybody's here on LNG. Moham wanting to show up and try to reinforce. He will not be able to close the distance in time, but he is close enough that no dive is going to happen. LNG backs it away.
And that's the thing, Moham did his job there. All you needed was for Kingen to get the experience and make it work. He's level 3, healthy engaged though.
Yeah, Moham jumping in there after Weiwei. He is going to get stunned up. Void Seeker fired out, but Kingen wisely intercepting that one, making sure that it doesn't collide with the Poppy.
Nice little chunk there. Easy defense. DK are able to keep Kingen in full experience over here. And Zika, of course, teleporting up to the top side to grab the top side experience in the 1v1. That now, looking at the mini-map, he's actually going a little bit aggressive, tried to get in there onto aiming and actually chunked aiming Ziggs out a little bit. Meanwhile, the rest of the red side takeaway here for LNG goes according to plan, even with a bit of chunk of damage onto Weiwei. Didn't really have to divert their plan at all.
Zika does still have to be careful, although he's getting good damage on towards aiming. You can see where Lucid is on the map, because easily try and get in behind him, but sitting just above half HP, he should be fine. But at least getting a good answer on towards aiming at the moment and keeping himself in check in the lane is going to work out perfectly for him.
And they've got the timer on the respawn of these Raptors. Raptors number 2 here, so they know.
Ooh, Lucid going after Scout, forcing the flash out of him. Summoner spell for summoner spell there, but DK's happy to take it, make that Galio more vulnerable.
Yeah, LNG know that, yeah, they could come for our second Raptors, but it doesn't matter if you know. Nice little bit of damage there, gonna force Scout's flash. Pretty big here for Lucid. They, of course, invest their own flash, but trying to get pressure onto the Galio is really big. Whenever you're running Vi plus Ahri, you want to have the level 6 kill potential really be there. And with now Scout on the Galio with no flash, he will certainly be a viable target, as Zika right now is the target.
Yep, knocked back with the satchel charge. Zika trying to get away there, jumps towards his opponents with a hook shot for the extra distance, but it does not matter. First blood over to aiming on the Ziggs.
So I think Zika was expecting Lucid to try and go for the Q and was hoping to flash over, but instead he only ends up flashing into the waiting arms of Lucid and sets up for that kill.
It's so hard versus Poppy angles too, because he's like, I don't want to get too close to the wall, but then if you flash that angle, then you're getting banged into the tower, and they still got the stun, setting it up for aiming, for Ziggs to get fed. Now the opposite dive.
Yeah, they want to get this dive onto Kingen if they can. Doing a good job defending himself for now. Turret shots flying out, but Scout's made his way down to the fight now too. 4v1, Kingen still level 5, nowhere close to being able to go all out, but he knocks him back, doing a beautiful job so far. Kingen, one-man army from DK, he finally falls. LNG barely stumbling out of it.
Yeah, he got a couple of them low, but he still goes down, and Showmaker could not clean up. Even with the 2 low health members, due to the tower, he could not clean up any extra kills.
And he just there hit level 6 as well. That would have been such a big difference if it was slightly faster, but unfortunately for DK, LNG, even though they had a tough time doing it, they got it done. Gala flashes back over the wall. Showmaker with a Spirit Rush to try to chase him down. He's all out of charges now, though. The orb flies out. Showmaker doing a good job flashing away from the hook shot of Zika, who does not have his own ulti. The Camille's still only level 5, so that's not going to be a return kill.
And now with the map state that it's in, Lucid able to move up towards this top side. He's going to get the Void Grubs. You push for aiming on towards this top tower as well. This should fall. So despite it being that top tower, it actually looks like first turret is going to go the way of DK. This is a much better early game for the LCK representative.
Yeah, aiming up here on the Ziggs, just destroying this tower. And he was also the one to get the last hit onto the kill for the first blood that they got on Zika. So it's going to be a very, very dangerous Ziggs very early on into this game.
Yeah, there you go. Turret down. Ziggs doing what Ziggs does, and Kingen now goes all out here with a Cassante chasing after Hung. But he can just join up with the rest of his team up here in this bottom side river. Weiwei still working on the Drake. They're level 4, they're half HP for the support and jungler of LNG, so they got to be a little bit careful here, even though they have a massive numbers advantage. They catch King, and he went way too close. What in the hell are we doing, King? And that was not the right choice. LNG getting a punish, and now the fight might just continue. Lucid wants to try to get away back over the wall. The ball breaker ain't gonna work. DK just throwing their men into a blender.
Is that Dragon Pit the Mabruta triangle? Like, they're all getting lost in there. What in the heck are they doing, Flowers? That's 2 free kills.
I'm so confused. I was like, oh, this is really cool. Kingen's getting some nice damage down. They're just making it awkward for them, and like, Hung will have to reset, so then you can play it on the map. And then he just kind of keeps going, and I'm looking at the mini-map. I'm like, Vi's not there, Poppy's not there. Lads, this is 2v4. Like, this is not where you want to try and take this fight. And sure, they get the damage on Hung, but this is such an overextension.
Yeah, you can tell. The call is try and delay them. Hey, we're on the way. We want to try and punish them. We want to catch them. But then not only does our Cassante die, but then Lucid dies for a control ward inside the Dragon Pit. The Dragon Pit where the dragon had already been taken, nonetheless. So 2 free ones there. I mean, LNG are very happy to get that extra money because DK had been building such a good advantage in this early game. Their Ziggs game plan was going full steam ahead. He already got his Ludens so much money with the isolated tower gold plus the first blood money. It had been going so incredibly well for DK, and you might look back at those couple of kills that you gave away really early on into the game and really, really regret those. We'll see, though, if you know, LNG are able to get their dive game plan going. We now have our level 6s for both the Galio as well as the Camille, so our possibilities of the traps, that kind of goated combo that you look for, is going to be operational.
Man, that was not what DK needed. They were 3 grubs ahead. I mean, technically they still are 3 grubs ahead. It just doesn't feel as good after the blunder there in the Drake Pit. 9.5 minutes into the game. Second set of grubs spawns in 60 seconds.
And I would say your game plan of the Fed Ziggs is still going really nicely. Already rotated him into mid lane here. Can easily destroy these minion waves, keep up the early push, allow you then to set up your play as the Rift Herald is about to spawn, push mid wave, get everybody over there. Top tower's already dead. They already pushed out top wave. So you, even though things like this happen, you have to get right back into focusing on the next step.
And I think the fact that you've got this setup for aiming in fights is perfect as well, because Lucid, the immediate follow-up with that ultimate, that's why we often saw the Ziggs paired with things like Nautilus support, because it just gives them the fire at will on this specific spot and you will murder someone. So I think for DK, the likes of being able to lock down Gala, potentially even just take Zika out of a fight, makes these upcoming scraps significantly easier. So LNG need to pull off some kind of magic to make these next few fights go in their favor.
Yeah, and they should be able to set up nicely for that second pack of grubs that we're looking towards. They get the recall off for Ziggs as well, so gets another purchase. And looking at the 6 stack of grubs would be very nice for them, even though their bottom tower here is very close to going down, and 3 members of LNG are coming to try and make sure of that.
Yep, we got another teleport coming in to try to turn this into a very one-sided fight. It's another bad experience for King and around the bottom lane. 0-3 and 0 on Cassante in this game.
I think that's a great call from LNG, because they're like, fine, you can have the next pack of grubs off of your push on top side, off of your push in mid lane, but we're going to know that you're taking those grubs and make a play on the other side of the map.
I think it's always one of the most critical skills in League of Legends that really separates separates the top teams. Hold on now. Another one of those skills is a dive when you can find it. Beautifully done from DK, but a nice interruption as LNG want to get that counterattack now on Lucid, who tries to escape off to the right, but it's not going to do a whole lot. You would have to think. Lucid still staying alive for now, still trying to get himself back away. One more punch from Scout's going to get it done as Hung gets slammed back into the wall there by the Poppy, but a DP's coming in. There's your Glacial Prison. There's a double kill back over to Scout. There's Zika making his way into the fight as Kingen goes unstoppable with his reinforcement, but the fight's already finally done. LNG fighting back after Gala got dove.
It looks so good for DK. That was the combo that we were just talking about, where you can annihilate Gala, but just end up going that little bit too far forward. Lucid gets caught, and every member of LNG comes out of the woodwork to try and turn that one around.
I was about to say, before that happened, one of the most critical skills of being a good team is knowing when to just let something go and take something else instead. But LNG was not willing to let Gala go unavenged, and they hit right back.
Even with the scrappiness of this game, even with the chaos that does bloom out of this game, you still have the one constant, and that is the Ziggs taking towers.
Yes, sir.
Aiming got right back to duty. Aiming is the one staying focused here for DK. As usual, you know, he is going to be the real consistent damage for them as it gets later.
Scout immediately greeting Showmaker with some damage as he teleports in.
I was going to say, the tank Galio doesn't really hit as hard as you kind of hope for when they're teaming in, though. It's kind of like, oh, you take none of my health, but I also take none of yours. So, good day, sir. We'll back away, but they will back away towards this dragon, which is working out well for them. Yep. And Zika now trying to see if he can just put some pressure on towards Moham, but he cannot defend this top tower by himself, but the wave isn't quite in position.
So last game, where we had more of an even spread of the neutral objectives, Grubs didn't all get 6-0. The first two Drakes went 1-1. This time around, it's all Grubs over to DK, both Drakes over to LNG. The Soul this time is more valuable as well, being a Mountain Soul, particularly against a Ziggs who's going to be spamming out that poke. Having the extra shield to just resist some of that consistent long-range damage could go a long way. So I'll be very interested in tracking and noticing how DK is going to respond to the future Dragon attempts that come out from LNG, especially considering how effective Ziggs can be at those neutral standoffs.
Yeah, I mean, on the flip side, though, you still have a Ziggs with 6 Grub buff, right? So you have to be so careful here as LNG about how you set up, because the second Ziggs goes on to a turret, that turret's gone. And I think at the moment they're doing a decent job of moving Scout into positions where he is kind of being the defensive side laner, where you have Zika being the offensive side laner, and having people like Wei and Hung play towards him. As long as they can keep that and you can continue to clear these waves, they should be fine. But one misstep and DK can rip so much gold off the map.
Yeah, especially because so much of their gold is from turret plates and turrets themselves that the Ziggs has been able to get for DK. So we'll see about the setup now as everybody heading over towards top river. So I feel like we might get a nice little scrap here.
Yes, sir. Rift Herald has spawned. LNG with a 5-man play going in. They find the Glacial Prison, but it's only onto Moham. How much do they want to commit to this? Looks like the whole kitchen sink. Should be a 1-for-1, though. Hung barely getting away. Showmaker finally going to finish him, but Lucid's going to drop next. 3v4. Aiming is still alive. Kingen trying to cut off Zika. Hero's entrance looking to back up that top laner as Kingen is once again in a bad spot. He has to flash to try to escape, but it's Scout back over the wall. LNG doing a beautiful job as the fist of Scout finds the forehead of aiming, and that one is going to be a clean fight for LNG.
The Galio punches are very satisfying.
Oh, yeah.
There. That was actually beautiful kind of dissection of the fight from LNG. They cut off both members here, as you see Galio ultimate used up to the top side, and then jumping right back over the wall.
Yeah, and it was just a great setup, because you see the steadfast presence go down, which means that Zika is just waiting for the follow-up there, threatening Lucid so Lucid can't go in. Once Lucid does, the immediate ult from the Camille means that he can't really threaten on towards the back line. And then Kobe, as you just highlighted, the split up here. Gala staying away from the wall, so King can't really get him into position. Wei getting that knock up. You've got Scout, who's peeled now for Showmaker and happy to take the brunt of that damage, thanks to having that Hollow Radiance and the MR from that, alongside flashing over the wall to finish off aiming. beautiful stuff from LNG.
Yeah, I love it. You know, Scout, he protects the top side with his ultimate, then he flashes over to get the taunt and combo on the big threat of DK and finally allow them to take down aiming. And like Scout has just been so good for this team. You can see why they really wanted him here. Why Gala himself even spent his own personal money along with some of his old teammates to really help Scout get here. And he's paying them back in gameplay.
He's paying them back in gameplay, and we're paying them back in gold as well. We were talking about aiming being the win condition, aiming being up 1,500 gold. Look at the bottom of your screen right now. That blue number says 136. The lead for the Ziggs has evaporated compared to Gala, who on this Kai'Sa, we saw it in game number 1. This dude can tear through the enemy team. The build, not the same as what we saw in the previous game, going for the Kraken Slayer this time, working towards that Rage Blade here yet again. But once he gets online, when you've got this Galio and this Camille working with you, chugga, 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 chugga. That's the dive train, and it's leaving the station.
But this is the champion Gala made his name on. This is the pick that he was associated with for so long. The ability to have these big playmaking moments, understand exactly when he needs to go in with the killer instinct, and even picking up numerous pentakills on the champion. So it's kind of been comfort for him over the course of this series, and he's getting to show back why he's so feared both domestically and internationally for his Kai'Sa play.
Okay, so let me ask you guys. This game, early on, started off way better for DK than the first game did, and then just fumbling the ball over and over and over again, getting outplayed by LNG. How do they stabilize this and try to take themselves to a game 3?
I do think a huge amount of it has to be a combo between Lucid and aiming. Just try and delete Gala off the map, and then you can deal with Zika by himself, which is the amount of CC you have, because the build that Scout's going, he has the Hollow Radiance already, he is tanky, but the damage behind that profile isn't quite there yet. So as long as you can deal with one threat in Gala, it becomes significantly easier to deal with the other threat, which is Zika.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's either like Lucid and aiming ults coming over, or Lucid and Showmaker, you know, dashing in to make use of that pick. But it really does come down to that Vi ultimate being your biggest tool in actually forcing some picks in your favor. And you really need to leverage those very early on so that LNG don't get to set up their combo.
But the problem is you've got Scout on the Galio, right? So even trying to get that moment may cost you your lives, but it may be a sacrifice DK have to be willing to make, as Third Dragon started. DK, a lot of respect here.
LNG with total control over the bottom side river, and one of the reasons why they have it is because they dropped the Rift Herald back in mid lane as a distraction that needs to be answered by DK here at the same time. Showmaker's going to step up, but the Mountain Drake is already secured by Weiwei here on the Sejuani. LNG now at soul point, 3 Drakes to nothing.
And when you're running a team like this that is based on picking people off and all in sending that dive, it is really, really, really beneficial to be able to have the threat of Dragon Soul to draw the enemy team out into the open areas of the map, and then you jump on them with all of your engage.
And I want to go back to what you guys were talking about as your answers to the last question. How does DK win? How do they stabilize? The common denominator in those answers was Lucid needs to find a good ulti on a value target, and we're talking about a guy who's a rookie. We're talking about a guy who, when we heard back from the desk at the top of the day, he has some of those moments where he goes in too hard, or he has, like, you know, that young player, like, lack of experience type of decision making that can show up in some of these high pressure situations. So the way I'm looking at it from here, the pressure is on for this young jungler from DK to show that he's got what it takes to find those angles and find a moment that might be able to still save him in this series.
If we remember last night when his Vi goes really deep in onto the Ashe there with the ultimate and gets kind of taken off for a ride all the way into enemy team. You know, they still win the game and everything, but yeah, those are the ones where you go a little bit more far than you kind of bargained for. But it's critical to also, like, pull this play off in transition, you know, so that LNG don't get to use their full combination of a team. And right now, LNG are actually splitting them across. They're going to be able to have bot side push with Zika. His flash and his teleport are both ready on the Camille, so he gets bot lane push first while the rest of the team is able to transition down from mid lane to secure jungle.
Trying to go into Moham, not quite able to get him, but LNG is a team that has struggled when it comes towards actually playing out a map state in a 1-3-1 or these kind of split push scenarios. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on how they start to play this one out, at least getting these early objectives. They have been playing relatively well on Scout, kind of hovering to create a lot of that pressure, but you still need to see these turrets really start to fall.
And in watching LNG with a lot of the LPL teams, I feel like LNG is very good and methodical when they've got these nice leads and they've got everything that they need set up. They're the ones with their nice gold lead already. They already have control over this entire bot side jungle leading up to Dragon. It's important that you get those wards out early, so it makes it easier as the Dragon gets closer and closer to set up the next ones. And they're even teleporting down there.
But this is the play that I was going to say that traditionally LNG fell back onto when they had these split pushes, which is overloading these lanes with Scout and Zika, and then using Zika as a TP back to try and play off elsewhere. But DK have read this.
Yeah, Showmaker and Lucid both around here. Mega Inferno Bomb used to just clear the wave. Scout's Justice Punch gets interrupted, so then he has to flash to try to escape, but a nice charm from Showmaker to lock him up, and LNG is going to get punished immediately. The Vile to stop the hero's exit. Beautifully done there to ruin the game plan of their opponents. DK showing that they're still paying attention here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, great read from DK. This is kind of a set play that LNG have used a couple of times. Zika just hops over the wall, where they will try and just overload one side lane where they have these TP advantages to make some sort of magic happen. And you've always got Scout who can use his ultimate to get back alongside Zika with the TP, but DK were aware of it. They already had Lucid moving into position as that wave was about to crash, and it's a great turnaround for DK.
It's a huge moment. Our eyeballs were just all on Lucid, and him being able to use Vi ultimate to lock somebody down, and they have Showmaker there, and they make the play. So very nicely done for them. Nice little punish, but it doesn't completely change the direction of the game, because all of the setup work that LNG had done is still pretty much true. They still have their deep wards in the jungle leading up towards the Dragon, so they can still set up nicely here, as it's now only 1 minute away, and this is going to be a very early soul fight.
The big thing that I'm looking at here is Scout not only died, but he did lose both summoner spells, the TP committing to be there, as well as the flash trying to escape, so neither one of those tools will be available for this upcoming soul fight. And if LNG ends up getting forced off, or even if they decide to fight forward and they lose by a small margin, that could be a big difference maker.
I think this is where we will see LNG just go for tower takes, though. They're having an awful time breaking these turrets because aiming just sits in mid, clears out the waves all day. Showmaker's been doing a very similar job matching wherever Zika's trying to put pressure on the map. So in this situation, I wouldn't be surprised to see them look for the reset, lean in towards this top lane, and just try and take turrets over anything else right now.
Drake 15 seconds away. A little bit of vision from both sides here in the bot side river. Aiming just continuing to force these waves down. So easy to do it with the Ziggs. Vision in the pit from LNG, though, with this Drake about to spawn in less than 5 seconds now. Mohan and Hung fighting back and forth for the vision control in the brushes around the area. Both teams know how important that control is going to be as DK brings everybody down.
Yeah, both Zika and Kingen do have their teleports ready. Zika's going to be able to push the wave first there on top side as Dragon gets leashed out. Good job taking control of that little curved bush in the river, by the way. This one they're fighting over right now. Wei clears it out again himself. That one is so critical for these fights around Dragon. So retaken vision control now by LNG in this bush.
Keegan keeps trying to reset. I'm not sure if he's come close to that item completion, so may want to try and get that in just so we can come in with the TP, but LNG giving up a lot of space here to DK.
I think the fight on top lane is actually really important too, to be able to see where that goes, since it is actually 2 items for Zika. Slight advantage here over Kingen, who hasn't been able to complete. And he's trying to make it work. He does get his teleport off, so LNG, they want this soul. They're going to send everybody.
Zika here first. LNG with control of the pit. They're going to pour some DPS into the objective. DK still got to be careful about their approach, but they're going to be a little bit too little, too late. Mega Inferno Bomb over the top as they want to try to get their jungler in there, but instead the counterattack coming out from LNG. The Drake is going to be secured. That is Mountain Soul over to the LPL squad, as now they're going to take the full fight, but they got to be careful. Zika here on the front line going to be taken low, but he barely survived thanks to Steric's Gauge. Now the wombo combo. The damage back over onto Kingen's going to be good. LNG still chasing, but Wei is at death's door. Aiming takes him down, and Hung is going to be stopped. LNG still scrambling to fight. A double kill back over to Aiming. Make it a triple for the Ziggs. Scout about to fall, and the Void Seeker won't get one back. It's soul of an LNG. It's fight for DK.
And Merit is up. They can go. Did Aiming just save the game? It was also an amazing ultimate from Kingen. He was actually able to Cassante ult away from the Camille Galio combo, and now they can go for the Baron response.
Gala low, won't be able to get into this. DK Yes, they gave Soul, but they might be able to get Baron and take so much more on the map. And again, this is such a crucial component to LNG, actually being able to take these towers because of these double AP mages that are just buffering through these waves.
I want to see the fight again. Gala here, though, is going to try and fight them off the Baron. They're still rushing it down. It's only 3,000 health.
2,000 health, 1,000 health secured by Lucid and DK. LNG, they wanted to try to get something back. They even used Scout's TP. That is now back-to-back TPs from Scout that have been completely ineffective. Hung wants to try to stop some backs, maybe desync them, but it's not even going to work.
I really want to see this fight again because I believe Kingin, Cassante ults Camille out of his own ultimate so that nobody was locked into the Galio combo. We'll take another look because it starts out so nicely for LNG. They force them off the dragon, they take the dragon, then they Camille Galio Altir, and then it is Kingin takes him out so that Lucid's able to escape as well, and nobody gets caught in the combination. The re-engage then, sacrificing his life there as Kingin goes in to get the knockback. And they get so much damage out of this Zig. Chunking way so low, aiming can flash forward, and he also gets the knock onto Hung to make sure he can get that double kill.
All right, back to live. Engage from Lucid, going in, tries to find the slam on the way. The Sejuani not anywhere tanky enough to survive this, and DK with momentum barreling down the bottom lane.
They saw Zuka in this top side, so they immediately go for the pick. They get it, and the reset now from Kingin to defend this top turret as well. DK getting a lot of value out of this Baron buff and outplaying on the map right now.
This is such an exciting one. Oh my goodness, the comeback possibilities here for DK. So much gold injected into this team off of that fight.
DK coming back from the precipice of another really bad game state, and they are now over 4,000 gold ahead. The Ziggs war machine is absolutely pumping damage into these structures. 5 turrets to 2 favoring DK. Dragons are not necessary. They've got everything else in their control right now.
DK is always so fun to watch. So much damage coming out here from aiming. Him still remaining consistent for this team. Now, you know, he's even over the 2,000 gold lead, but we also have gold leads for Lucid, for Showmaker, you know, big capabilities here, and Showmaker also picking up his arm guard, so big possible plays out of this Ahri.
Yep.
He's got a 2-level lead over Scout's Galio to boot. Really want to see this pushed to a final and deciding game, but LNG, of course, are going to be able to still wield the power of the soul that they got.
But I think the double Zanya starting to be completed for both Damon and Showmaker just nullifies so much what LNG want to do. We know the combo well. Zika goes in, Scout ults, try and pick someone off, but when your main targets are just able to go invulnerable for the entire duration of that, it makes things significantly easier to defend. So LNG, I think their window of opportunity is starting to close in this game unless they get creative, which looks like they might be on towards Showmaker now.
Thing is for LNG as well, the difference between this game and the last game, look at Gala. Last time around, he was going with the very heavy AP build, right? We saw the death cap, we saw the magic penetration, we saw Nashor's Tooth, all these things. This time around, it's much more of a fighting, shooting DPS dive build. If you're not diving, you're not really doing anything on LNG's side. And if DK continues building their lead, the dive gets tougher and tougher. Moham, very low, but he still stays alive. Critically, Kingin trying to also continue the retreat. LNG keeps the chase alive. Scout doing a great job, locking up the enemy Cassante. Zika's already killed off Moham, but meanwhile back in the jungle, it's Gala under pressure. Huge damage coming in. Gala is saved somehow by the hero's entrance plus the shielding. The Kaisa stands tall.
The locket from Weiwei barely keeps Gala alive as that last punch comes in from Lucid, and it just means it's a pick. LNG saw the TP from Showmaker on towards mid lane and saw their chance to bite back against DK.
What a game. What a series, man. This is awesome.
What a world. This entire event has been sick so far.
Kobe, we flew out at the right time, dude. This is a
jet
good
lag.
series.
You waking out, lads? You feeling it?
Yeah. Got off the plane just in time, baby.
Feeling good. Feeling good.
That's kind of why I want to see another one, another game of this. But LNG, of course, don't want that. They want the express route into the next stage of Worlds here. They want to be able to finish out this game. And of course, the power of a Mountain Soul is so big in these all-in fights where they just get the full commitment. They can make use of this full shields, and they have had, you know, lightning quick engages here. So we'll take a look at the combinations. You have to, of course, always keep checking back in on the flashes, and most of them have their flashes back and available. It's just, of course, Scout Galio not going to have his ready.
Well, we had a very early Dragon Soul this game, the earliest possible one you could get, 4-0, but that also means early Elders. This buff so often ends the game, and right now, bottom river control belongs to DK. LNG just trying to get their waves pushed up, trying to be careful on their approach here. They still have the Scuttle Crab vision in the bot side river, but everything else is DK's.
Looks like side lane push acquired here by Zika. Level 16, now 17 on the Camille as the rest of the team comes to hover.
That Zig's so huge here for DK. Zika jumps in for the immediate stun on Kingan, but the Cassante can't really be the target. It can't be the focus for LNG if they want to have a good fight here as DK groups up and exits back towards mid.
Yeah, they're trying to make sure that Scout can't come in behind them with a big taunt. Zika trying to wrap around, completely out of vision. Lucid trying to mark him and spot him out. We'll just see him here now.
Okay, they've got eyes on Zika, but now the fight's gonna start off. Lucid wanted to go in, but it ain't gonna work out here quite yet. Aiming forced into the stasis here immediately, but a massive engage coming up from Hung. He locks everybody up, but where's the follow-up? Kingan's gonna die. Gala takes him out. DK trying to get themselves away. Zika still barely alive here at about 25% HP back into the Drake pit. Lucid over the wall, still thinking about maybe trying to fight for it. Moham at 1/3 HP, aiming. He needs to recall, reset, rejoin the fight here with a teleport. The Dragon at 6,000 as Hung again still looking for an angle. There's your taunt coming out from Scout. Zika back over the wall and Lucid is down. The charm on Gala will finish him off, but Showmaker dies to Scout here as well. Aiming in Moham trying to get themselves back away as Weiwei will be left alone here with the Elder Dragon. Hung still chasing, and Elder execute would be almost immediate here on the Moham. He's about to take the damage. The winds of war are blowing, and they will burn down the house of DK. Aiming, the last man standing. He's kiting them all the way through the jungle. They got to be careful about this one. The Ziggs is so damn hard to kill, but they've got so many more men. Weiwei still coming back around from the side. The Elder Dragon Sejuani trying to cut him off. Aiming with a beautiful Mega Inferno Bomb to take out the enemy support, but he pays with it with his life. And LNG get a delayed ace plus Elder.
It's aiming versus the world against the dragoned up LNG, but he just can't do it, and he can't get it done here either. The LNG play out this fight so incredibly well, picking off Lucid, immediately turning on towards Showmaker. Zika buying so much space on the top side alongside Hung, and the eventual turnaround to pick off the members of DK.
And that fight is only the second wraparound after they had already got the first kill. And the first fight, they actually, even though they see the Camille coming, there's nothing you can do about it. The Camille ult breaks the Vi ultimate, and they still got their engage. Great follow-up from Hung in the last
just a
one.
great guess
But
by Amy.
goes down there to the big Ziggs bomb.
All right, back to live. LNG going after Baron. And there is no contest on that one. All right, LNG have Elder for another 60 seconds, Baron for 3 minutes. They want to try to force a fight if they can while the super buffs are active.
I think they just get to set up their waves how they want. You can already see Zika pushing in that top side. The wave was controlled by Showmaker on the bottom end, but a potential play from LNG is always on the cards. Zika going to reset. I think he's looking for a TP back in onto the play, having finished off a GA. There those, and now going to come back in immediately onto the top side turret.
Yeah, keep your eyes on aiming. The whole game is
Camille's
about
already
aiming.
in. Camille's on the tower. Camille's deleting the tower.
He needed one more hit. I don't think he's going to find it. Hook shot to escape in time. Glacial Prison over the wall to block any sort of a chase that DK would have wanted to execute on, as Gala, now with a space created by Zika in the top lane, can secure the kill in the tier 2 back over in mid. Tier 3 turret in top, still just barely standing as the push, the onslaught from LNG continues.
And you just, that top tower is gone. You, like, the next minion wave, Zika just walks up, hits it, hook shots away, and is gone with the gold and to boost. And DK trying heavily to pressure onto the wave state, but LNG, they're there.
Zika's still your target, but he's staying alive for now. The TP coming in. Zika with the Hextech ultimatum, trying to take out the Cassante. All Out's not going to bring him out of the ultimatum, but he still has to retreat because of the damage pouring in as Moham leads the charge. Weiwei's still going to keep disengaging. Zika very low, no teleport to rejoin the fight. He's going to have to reset.
The charm from Showmaker was clutch there because it drew Zika in behind Cassante, so King could actually ult through him and get to the edge and away from LNG. So nice job there by Showmaker, but still, DK, they hold on. You've still got at least 2 more waves that you can play off here as DK or as LNG, but the base still stands for the moment.
Yeah, LNG, of course, they're so short range. It is hard for them to take down the final defenses of the inhibitor tower, so they really do have to rely on their split push, even with the Baron buff. Camille almost finishes off that tower, though, so the topside tower, extremely low, extremely close to going down. Of course, that teamfight damage does tell the story that we already know from the side of DK, where Aiming was pumping out damage, trying to do as much as it can, but LNG, of course, still with their Dragon Soul, with all the extra gold that they've now gotten too, try to come and finish off the other side of the map.
Oh, Moham finds himself in a bad spot. He's down. Zika seeing the angle to block his escape. Now a 5v4 for LNG. Glacial Prison onto Kingan yet again. The 0-6 Cassante has had such a struggle here in this second game as LNG, their Baron is about to expire. They want to try to get all the value that they can. Rotating back over to the mid lane now as the wave is also about to crash. Mega Inferno Bomb with very little value. Mid lane inhibitor would be the first one to fall on DK's side as LNG maintain their 5v4 advantage for the next 10 seconds. There's nothing more to claim here in the base. They're going to retreat for now. Still hanging around though, seeing if maybe DK gets a little bit too greedy on the chase, but it will not happen.
A minute and a half until Elder Dragon though, so we may just have to rinse and repeat. The fact that DK held on to that top tower though is crucial, because no super minions away from that side of the map is going to work out great, but Kingan Zuka realizing that wants to move up towards this top side, I think, put pressure there so that then he can encourage more members of DK to try and defend away from the Elder Dragon.
It's just really good movements from LNG. To be able to take over jungle, make it so dangerous, get their pick off, then rotate from bottom lane up towards mid, another bunch of chunks. Like, it just seems so hard at this point for DK to retake control, and with another Elder coming up and your mid inhibitor down once again, it is going to be that very dangerous situation where you're going into an LNG vision controlled territory, where they also have the big gold advantage that they've retaken in this game.
Yeah.
And they, again, just have so many tools to force the fight on you when you come to face check. Similar to their full dive in the previous game, it is on LNG now to just finish this one out with one more big fight.
I thought LNG would leave Zuka on top side because he doesn't have enough gold to buy another item and they could just continue to put pressure there, but now drawing him down onto this bottom side, it will mean that he has a good flank opportunity for this potential Elder Drake, especially with the waves he's now pushed down, and there's little vision there. So Showmaker now moving in behind the pit. I imagine it'll be Showmaker trying to mark Zika as he moves in here.
Big items to look for. Guardian Angels on both Zika and Gala. They both have that second life, but you've got the double stasis for the carries on DK at the same time. Zika still at a pincer angle here, not on top of the ward, as the Drake started up, aggroed a little bit here by LNG, but no real DPS put into it from either side. DK still attempting to approach here on this river angle, but now you got a TP coming in as Zika just bought his Death's Dance. It is full build Camille going into the second Elder Drake fight of the game. Gala taking the poke though from Aiming as Showmaker's forced into the stasis. He's got to try to get himself back away. Zika into the back line, but he's already isolated. He's going to be knocked down. Surely though, right? Hero's entrance ain't quite going to find the way that it's looking for. Zika into the back line. Aiming trying to get away. They need to lock him up, beat him down. Wei finds the kill on Aiming, and DK is looking like a graveyard right now. LNG barreling down mid lane. Game 2 was closer. DK was stronger, but LNG still are better. Kingan jumps into the middle of everybody, but it ain't gonna do a damn thing. Showmaker gets shown just who's the better team here. And LNG are the first team going to quarterfinals in Worlds 2024.
Zuka's just too rich, man. Over a 6,000 gold lead individually. The full build Camille with the Guardian Angel to go in and just force the last fight.
What a showing from LNG. Let's toss it back over to the analysts.
Thank you so much. It's LNG that booked their tickets to the quarterfinal in dominating fashion after Dplus Kia did get something done, even though we absolutely